Ready to start your ESG journey? Get going today with Social Suite, and you could start reporting publicly in 30 days. With investor pressure mounting and regulations just around the corner, there's never been a better time to start your ESG reporting. Social Suite takes the complexity out of environmental, social, and governance reporting. Social Suite helps organizations to measure, monitor, and report on their progress with fast, simple, and affordable software. Create value through ESG in order to raise capital, improve brand and reputation, as well as mitigate risk. Social Suite has helped almost 100 micro to small cap companies report on ESG, with some starting their baseline report in under 60 minutes and reporting publicly within 30 days. ESG is a lot easier than you think, and you're probably already doing it. So take your sustainability reporting to the next level with measurable progress. Start your ESG journey today with Social Suite, an ESG software company for micro to small caps. Visit socialsuitehq.com. That's social, SUITEHQ.com to learn more. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not provided as financial, legal, or any other advice. The information is not investment advice or an offer to buy or sell any securities or make any investment. The views expressed by guest speakers are their own, and any reference to third-party products, services, or information does not constitute an endorsement thereof by SNN or its affiliates. SNN expressly disclaims all liability for any individual's use of the information presented in this podcast. My guest on the show today is Dr. Halden Shane, CEO and chairman of TOMI Environmental Solutions, Inc. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is TOMZ on NASDAQ. TOMI Environmental Solutions, Inc. is a global decontamination and infection prevention company providing environmental solutions for disinfection through the manufacturing, sales, and licensing of its premier binary ionization technology, otherwise known as the BIT platform. Invented under a defense grant in association with the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, of the U.S. Department of Defense, BIT solution utilizes a low percentage hydrogen peroxide as its only active ingredient and uses patented ionized hydrogen peroxide technology in all SteraMist systems to create superior disinfection. I've seen TOMI present at many investor conferences, and this was my first opportunity to interview management. Needless to say, I took full advantage, covering an array of topics, including a deeper dive into the 5 divisions of the company and the division Dr. Shane is particularly excited about, the ebb and flow of future pandemics and outbreaks and how that affects TOMI, competitive landscape and downside risks, and Dr. Shane's vision for the company in 3 to 5 years. With that, please enjoy my conversation with Dr. Halden Shane, CEO and chairman of TOMI Environmental Solutions, Inc. Dr. Shane, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on. So I've seen the company present ad nauseum at many conferences over the years, but this is actually our first time having a chance to speak and really dive deeper into the story itself. So, my first question that I'd like to throw to you, and I throw this to everybody that comes on the series here, is can you describe the company in one sentence?
So it's a global disinfection and decontamination company.
All right. Now we can talk further. That's great. So, let's look back at TOMI's history. You actually have a great page on your website that goes through the full company history and I invite everybody to go and check that out. But from your perspective here, Dr. Shane, when was the company founded, and what would you say was the original thesis for its founding?
So the company was founded in 2013 is when we got the SteraMist product, which we bought from L3 Defense. It was a DARPA product. And the concept was to bridge the environmental science industry and the medical industry. I found that there was a lot of people with indoor allergy issues, and they didn't have anybody to turn to. And environmental science wasn't that geared to doing that. I found that this technology was able to bridge that because many illnesses are from indoor environments. And that was really the beginning of this product and myself.
Absolutely. So prior to acquiring that SteraMist or
SteraMist.
SteraMist, sorry, I wanted to properly pronounce it. What was the company? How did it exist?
The company was had a ultraviolet ozone product, which took a long time to treat buildings. And the nice story about it is I was on a job in New York City, about 55th, 56 in Madison, and there was a brand new 32-story building that had a fire just before it opened, and they needed to get rid of the carbon. So I took this ultraviolet ozone product to New York City, and we won this large job. During that time, one of the industrial hygienists asked me if I knew anything about this hydrogen peroxide product, which was called Binary Ionization Technology at that time, or BIT. And I looked into it and started to think about it. It was much quicker than ozone, much more effective, and it killed a lot higher log kill, which we'll go into a little later.
So why did DARPA want to sell off SteraMist? What was going on there?
So DARPA grants these types of products to companies, usually defense companies, to do research. And this was part of a DARPA grant. Initially came out of Titan Defense and then was sold in a basket to L3 Defense. And that's L3 didn't know how to commercialize it because they were a defense company. And I was brought in because they thought I could commercialize it. I spent about 2 years negotiating with the L3 board to purchase the product and its intellectual properties outright.
Continuing off of that, catch us up. Now the company's been in business now for 10 years, starting in 2013. We're in 2023. We're actually recording this on Friday, February 24th, 2023. So catch us up. How would you say the thesis has evolved over time? And what maybe were some key inflection points within the last 10 years that got you to where you're at today?
So when I bought the property, intellectual property, and it was a prototype, so we spent a long time developing the commercialization of the prototype. That was an exciting time. I learned a lot about manufacturing from that point. Also, we didn't have the registrations we needed. We had no global registrations for importation or for use. And we had no EPA registrations outside of a mold registration. So we had to go ahead and gear up to handling the regulatory aspects and the testing. And it took a number of years to do that. Probably 2017, if I recall, we got our first EPA registration as a hospital healthcare disinfectant. It was the first time ever a solution and a technology was ever registered. So the solution cannot be used without our technology. Our technology cannot be used without our solution.
Very good. So let's look at the business itself. Can you describe the company's full slate of products right now? Is SteraMist more of a platform than a singular product?
So Binary Ionization Technology, or BIT, which is what we call a solution, is the platform also. So that's the technology base. SteraMist is the trade name we use for the products. We started initially with one product, which was a portable surface unit. And then we merged into a larger environment unit, which treats both air and surfaces in space. And then we went ahead and started to realize that we're able to build this into buildings, which was the initial DARPA grant. And we've been able to do this into large pharmaceutical companies, clean rooms, and things like that. We also now have a backpack, which came out of the pandemic. We have multiple other life science products that's used for the pharmaceutical industry, for clean rooms, to treat biological cabinets and things like that.
So when I'm thinking about, decontamination, we're just we're at the tail end, it feels like, of COVID here, the pandemic. We're basically out of it. How did COVID and the idea of decontamination? I mean, listen, I was one of those that, like, I went to the store and I was like, washing all the food, you know what I'm saying? Like, doing all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, but from a company perspective, when COVID had the outbreak, and with all your solutions within the company, how did what happened with COVID and the precipice of other of these diseases happening out there, how did that affect the company?
Well, it was a tremendous, we had tremendous revenue for the panic buying aspects of COVID, which was in 2020. Fortunately, we keep a significant inventory and we were able to handle that. The negative fact of it is that we're really a company that does decontamination, which is a high level sterilization. So we're able to come into space and we're able to get 6 log kill versus most of the other products you're talking about give about a 3 or 4 log kill, which is, sometimes high, 99.9%, 99.99%, but nothing like the 6 log kill. And we're able to handle, in fact, a lot of our clients are select National Institute of Health, biological labs that have all sorts of known and unknown pathogens, and we're able to get complete kill with that. So it helped us with revenue for 2020. There was a big upswing in our stock price, which was a lot of that was because of some of the Robinhood groups that hooked onto it because they thought it was a COVID play, and that's where we got hurt. Because every year since we started getting the registration, 2017, we've been slowly increasing our revenue off of the fact that we have a disinfectant decontamination product that beats everything else in the marketplace. Then COVID hit, we sold out of our inventory. And then when COVID kind of went away, the market kind of lost interest in it because they don't realize really how great our product is and what we're currently doing in the pharmaceutical space, life science space, etc.
Yeah, I mean, what was the disconnect? Because I pulled up the chart real quick because I was like, all right, there must have been a bump, and clear. I mean, it was massive, right? when you see what
massive.
happened. And then. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you're like, all right, great, like this opens things up, and a lot more eyeballs on everything. And then, how has been the process since COVID has started to kind of dwindle away in terms of the company's awareness and how you're communicating the story to share? How has that? What have you been doing to try and shift that focus of like, okay, we're not just this COVID play, we have all these other things. I mean, obviously, coming on here is probably step one or one of the steps, but yeah, sorry.
COVID taught us a lot. I mean, it taught us, number one, as a company, we were mature enough to handle that type of buying. And we were able to train enough people in our product, the proper use of our product, which is very large with us as far as proper training. The other thing is that the disinfectant industry, which nobody knew very much about, unfortunately, by COVID, everybody, like you said at the beginning, you were washing everything, vegetables, hands, etc. So people became really aware of this. And I think that they have since then have been tired of it. They get it, but everybody wants to move on. And we're going to have pandemics. We're going to have pathogens. There's a lot of them out there right now that are very interesting. But it's going to be up to us and hopefully our public health departments to how to handle them. Our product is something that's necessary and is mandated. Really, the FDA requires life science laboratories twice a year to have complete independent cleanings, decontaminations, and that's what we do. Also, we learned a lot about our need, what the public wants for our products through COVID. Number one, we developed a backpack, a very lightweight portable unit that you're able to take and spray wherever you want with 5-second kill, and it doesn't damage, doesn't leave any type of residue. You don't have to wipe it. If you have a meeting in your house or a meeting in your office and you want to decontaminate that space, you can use this in a matter of minutes. to achieve that goal. It showed us that the life sciences, the pharmaceutical companies that weren't mandating in the vaccine industry needed to go back and to have products like this that they could use in their clean space, in their life science industry itself. So it taught us a lot, and we've adjusted our products accordingly. And now we're very happy where we are, and our name and our brand is becoming recognized all over the world.
Absolutely. So, looking at TOMI's 5 divisions that you're selling product into, you have hospital healthcare, life sciences, the TOMI service network, food safety, and commercial. Is there any one division that you feel particularly excited about? And if you can answer, maybe the opposite, vice versa, one that you're like, still interesting, but we're not as focused on it as maybe some of the others.
Well, I think life sciences is what drives the company. I think life sciences will always be here, whether there's a recession or not a recession. They need to go ahead and continue research. They need to continue to manufacture drugs, and they need to improve on vaccines, obviously, and other types of similar products. So, I mean, that's our strongest. I think in my heart, and what I'm seeing, food safety is tremendous. We have a crisis in this world. Obviously, there's a global issue about food and food safety, and obviously cost. And the pathogens and the destruction of some storage facilities, some processing facilities, packaging facilities have led to a shortage in some areas. And even recently with eggs and the avian flu that has hit the world, they're culling and killing a lot of birds that I think that there's a chance that we could end up curing these birds without having to kill them and prevent this avian flu that's in the coops and areas and duck farms and things like that.
Absolutely. You hit on a potential headwind when bringing up, avian flu and dealing with other viruses or bacteria and other influenzas that come about. How do you think about when it comes to these types of potential tailwinds for the business? Because if anything you learn from the COVID experience is that it's, be prepared for the potential interest, but at the same time recognizing that, this could be a cyclical situation as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We are, we're ready for it all now. We've partnered with the USDA in the food end, and they've written and published quite a few papers on our product. I don't know how the media and the market have missed this, but there's some great potential aspects of our product with preserving food and food safety. And I don't know why some of the poultry board that handles birds in the United States don't want to try this product on eliminating the virus in the bird itself versus culling the bird or killing the birds. But that's something that we tried to reach out. We haven't had a response. The hospital health industry is one that's very big, and we've been able to do research with UCLA on another study, a SHIELD study that's going to come out soon, publication. And this has shown that we're able to do a 55-minute complete disinfection of an ICU room, including changing mattresses, beds, and everything that goes involved in that terminal clean, and without having infection rates. So that's a tremendous product for that. The other two industries you hit on, which was the service is a bunch of professional remediators, restorers, forensic restorers. They've replaced a number of products in their toolbox with our technology, and they're able to eliminate many molds and at the same time go ahead and disinfect a person's home or building from MRSA, from many other pathogens besides just COVID.
Absolutely. So I want to now talk a little bit about the competitive landscape for TOMI's products. Sure. Can you give us a little insight into that? And you mentioned really the main differentiators, right, in the idea of the 6 kill log, versus the products from your other competitors. But just want to get a better idea of what this landscape looks like, and then how you think about the total addressable market for this as well.
Sure. So you have an industry that has maybe 450. I'm going to say average. I mean, I don't know if anybody fact checks this, but there's probably between 430 and 470 EPA approved lab type products, and those products are very. Most of them are chemicals, chemical mixtures. Some of them deteriorate surfaces. Some of them you have to mix. Some of them take 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of them, corrode and cause other issues. Then they have ultraviolet industry, which are lights that are only go as high as the unit itself. If it's a short unit, it only goes this high. If it's a longer unit, but it doesn't go way above and beyond, which is what our product's able to do, because it works like a gas. It's visual, you can see it, and it's carried within the space. You have other hydrogen peroxide based products, which probably is our two biggest competitors. One's Ecolab, they own Bioquell. It's a very old technology, and the other is SteraMist, that has a 35% technology, which is, again, requires that you ship that product on a train because it's a hazardous chemical, and we know where that has gone recently, unfortunately. And we're able to ship our product, which is less than 8% hydrogen peroxide, by air, by FedEx, and that gives us a big advantage over the competitors. Plus, we're quicker. We don't corrode because we're so quick. We don't have to increase the amount of parts per million in a room because our product works so fast. And again, we don't damage. We don't hit stainless steel. They use our product on robots, on high-end microscopes and some things I can't even talk about publicly, but it has never damaged a surface. So the fact that we're faster, and the fact that we don't damage, and we don't wipe, and we don't leave a residue are all characteristics that make up a perfect disinfectant or decontamination product.
Absolutely. So, so help me understand too, where do you go from where you're at today, where, as you've talked about, it sounds like the company has I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know all the different products that are out there, but if TOMI has the superior product, what is where's the next step for mass adoption and capturing more of this addressable market, that the company's working on internally? Like, catch me up. I want to understand that better.
Okay, so I think, starting out, I had to make a decision. Do we start out on a small basis where we go to mom and pop operations, small stores, and work our way up, or do we tackle the entire, what's the large elephant in the room? And that is the Mercks, the Pfizers, the Catalents or work Catalents, the government, the laboratories, the BSL-3 labs, BSL-4 labs. It goes on to hospital chains and police departments, fire departments, daycare centers. So we went after all the named Fortune 500 companies. That took a lot longer in our plan because the fact that they didn't believe us, they had to validate things themselves. And once they validated it and they saw there are no limits to the application of our technology, it awed them tremendously, and they became clients. And then, take Pfizer, for example. There's 10 facilities in the US. We started with 1, then we had 2, then we had 3. Now we have, I believe, 8 out of the 10. And probably by the end of this year, we should have all 10. So that's how I envision this company. And that's why it's taken a little longer, but the name is out there. Now people don't say, well, let me see your studies. They call up a reference, and that reference tells them, what our abilities are, and everything that makes up a perfect disinfectant decontaminant is what our technology, it's what the BIT technology and what the SteraMist product delivers.
So the idea also is like, okay, I go to the life sciences company first. These companies are the most rigorous when it comes to validating this type of tech. in order for their use. So once we have that full validation, and even if the sales isn't the crazy highest addressable market, at least now we have that as proof of concept, proof of tech. They have the most rigorous testing that now when you go to other divisions, they're like, hey, look, Pfizer uses us. Like, you've got a problem with Pfizer? I mean, is that really the thought process?
Yeah, it's the acceptability of our product. All the NIHs use our product. In fact, now they're using it at NIHs that are global versus just in the United States. So it's that acceptance now that we have that we're able to go ahead and bring our product into the mainstream. Plus, we had to develop a sales force. And in the meantime, as soon as these pharmaceuticals started to see what our product did, they had personalized requests for new products. So we have, many more facilities that I haven't named that have requests for different types of devices that our in-house engineering team is working on. And proof of concepts have been successful, and now we're starting to manufacture them and take them to market. So we're definitely a technology to be reckoned with. It's something for the future. It's a mechanical way to disinfect and decontaminate and not lose time. In fact, there are labs in the United States, our government labs, that say that they're able to do a lot more experiments because our product turns over their rooms quicker than the old-fashioned, older technologies with higher percentage hydrogen peroxides than our product.
Absolutely. So another question that I ask everybody on here, with you guys in particular, like I said, I've seen you guys present at a number of events. I'm sure you've done the dog and pony show, doing the one-on-ones, all that kind of stuff. After doing some of those, having those conversations, doing the presentations, meeting with these, what do investors maybe still get confused about when thinking about TOMI? And maybe we can address some of those questions here.
Well, I think the biggest stumbling block is how well we did during COVID. People can't get that out of their head that we're not a COVID company. If there's a pandemic out there, yes, we have the type of inventory to handle it, but the technology is a little bit too sophisticated for a simple pandemic, even though a lot of us don't want to use the word simple anymore. But, that's basically what COVID was, was a coronavirus, and there's many of them. But, for what is out there and what could potentially be used or weaponized, our product is excellent for that. And I think that's what they think. Also, I think the timing, they're not aware of such a small company we are, how many new products we're creating. One of them is the CES, which is a custom environment unit, a built-in unit where we literally can build this into the ceiling of an existing building or into a ceiling, into a lab of a new facility. And we have both on the drawing boards. Our revenue is usually not depicted, it's not of what is current, except, because of certain accounting principles, we have to say what we shipped, and that's our revenue. But we're now starting to see bookings, which we never saw before, where we're booking things out in 2023 and in 2024. So we know our technology is being taken serious, and people are starting to build this type of technology into their new labs that they're building. And that's something that I'm very happy to see, and we've done a great job with.
Absolutely. And that actually hit on my next question that I, just playing devil's advocate here, pull up the most recent quarterly results. The company operated at a loss. So I have to ask, from your perspective, what would you say? I mean, you kind of hit on it a little bit already just there, but what would you say is that path to profitability that you want to let folks know about?
Well, I mean, we're getting very close to it. It will be here very soon.
We'll leave it there. So one other kind of, devil's advocate-y kind of question I ask everybody on here, this one as well. Sure. In your opinion, what would you also say are some of the company's downside risks when evaluating the opportunity ahead for TOMI?
Well, I mean, you never know about supplies, as far as what the supply chain is going to be with this world, especially the way it is today. We try to do our best. We buy a lot of supplies that we think we're going to need. So, I mean, if all of a sudden, we needed to produce 50,000 machines, that would be a downsize. We'd have to go ahead and find more manufacturing facilities and some of the specialized parts that we do use. So, I mean, that's something that we talk about all the time. And we keep a significant inventory, but that would be pretty much the only downside. I mean, you're not going to find a technology that's going to be more effective than our product with less destruction or causticity of it. We have material compatibility that's unbelievable. It works and moves like a gas. You can open up a drawer and it will go in the back of it wherever it can get to because of that effect. So it has tremendous characteristics, and it's here to stay. I mean, we do use this in avionics inside cockpits of helicopters. There's other branches of government that's testing it in other areas. So it's a terrific product. I'm proud to be involved with it and to see this come to the point where it has come to today, and it's looking extremely great going forward in the future.
For sure. Going back real quick to the competitive landscape side of things, who's the largest player right now on the more, because it's more of a B2B, right, type sales process versus on the consumer side?
I would have to. Yeah.
Sorry. No. Go.
No, I'd have to say SteraMist.
SteraMist. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. How big of a company is it? Just sorry.
Again, I haven't looked at it recently in the market turbulence that we're having, but I would have to say it's somewhere in 7 to 9 billion.
Got it. Okay. So another question that I'd love to ask you on here, again, in your opinion, where do you see the company in 3 to 5 years? And what would you say are the inflection points that'll get you there?
Well, I think the company will continue to grow substantially. I think that we've become the standard in the disinfection decontaminant space on the high end. I think that we are now winning our bids when we go up against SteraMist. Their equipment that gets 5 or 6 years old is being replaced with SteraMist. So, I see that can bring only revenue going forward and putting this company into the direction that I intended, and the team, which we have a tremendous team, has been working feverishly to reach. So I think that's where we'll be going.
Very good. All right. My final question for you here today, you've been at this now for 10 years. I mean, a little longer, but, as TOMI exists right now, right, for 10 years, how's been your experience being a public company CEO? I mean, you've been kind of in MicroCap circles for a bit. Like, how has it been?
It's had good and bad. I would say the negative is there are not enough people that know about the company and the product and where we are today versus where we were when we started this, before we had registrations and before we had new IP and before we had new products. The negative is, you have people that don't believe the story and put pressure on the stock. And I think that I'm not happy with about how the regulatory agencies handle those types of things with small companies, because they are significantly manipulated. But once the story gets out there and people see our results, then you have really true investors that are long-time investors that will go ahead and realize what our value is going forward. And then I'm sure if we have this discussion again, I'll be very happy with the results.
Very good. All right. Well, I think we're pretty much there. So with that, where can our audience go and find more information on TOMI Environmental Solutions? And if you have any social media channels, feel free to plug away here.
Yeah, we have all the social media channels, SteraMist, SteraMist, SteraMist.com. They can go to Facebook, they can go to LinkedIn, they can go to, all the other Instagram and follow us and hit like, and they'll get information and updated information about us. And we trade under the symbol of TOMZ. TOMZ, and we're listed on NASDAQ, and that's it.
Very good. All right. Well, Dr. Shane, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. And I look forward to our next update.
You do the same. Stay dry today.
I was going to say, stay dry.
I'm looking at it. Thank you all. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks, man.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not provided as financial, legal, or any other advice. The information is not investment advice or an offer to buy or sell any securities or make any investment. The views expressed by guest speakers are their own, and any reference to third-party products, services, or information does not constitute an endorsement thereof by SNN or its affiliates. SNN expressly disclaims all liability for any individual's use of the information presented in this podcast.